This person writes, what happens after you lose someone who you thought was your soulmate? Well, what happens is life goes on. And, you know, after some time, you realize that the one-itis thing isn't really true. I do believe that, you know, sometimes there is exceptions and it actually does happen. And you see things like, oh, this high school sweethearts, they've only been together. They're the only couple that each of them have been with. And then they stay together for their entire lives and die together at pretty much the same moment or a very short time frame. And I believe that does happen. And I think that's why that one-itis thing does exist, because it really does. But then again, if you are in this basically soulmate, there's only one person out there for me, that kind of mindset, what it does is it puts you into this pattern that's super attached to this other person from the very start. And whenever you get attached to something, attached to a person, attached to a result, you fear of losing them. And then when you fear losing them, it's like that's when the insecure, needy, approval-seeking behavior comes into play. And whenever you're acting in that way, especially if you're a guy, when she senses that neediness, she backs off. And where guys get in trouble, I mean, it's just like, this is it. If you're listening, this is it. This is when guys get in trouble. She backs off, whether that's through a test, whether that's through not texting you for a day, whether that's displaying flaky behavior, saying like, oh, I'm thinking about not coming. Whatever it is, she's backing off. And then where they get in trouble, where guys get in trouble, is they pursue. Then she backs off more. A guy with an achiever mindset, he's like, well, all I have to do is just work harder. And so I work harder at pleasing her, at doing things for her, at being nice to her, at trying to make her laugh or getting her gifts. And it's just an illusion of action, thinking those actions work, and they don't. And instead, what the results happen is he chases more, and then she backs off further to the point where she says, don't talk to me again. And she blocks you on all social media. Instead, what you have to do is recognize that, okay, she's backing off right now. What does she need? She needs that space. And when she gets that space, it's like, oh, then she starts to wonder about you. Or maybe she denies you, and when you ask her out, and then you're like totally okay with that, and you give a vibe that's like, man, I'm just going to be totally fine because I bring a lot of value. I'll just go succeed with somebody else. And she's like, oh, maybe I was wrong about this guy. And she gets a little bit like uncertain, tries to figure out. When she wonders about you, that's usually the point when she reaches out to you. And then you have another opportunity. But when she reaches out, what happens? It's like that dynamic shifts again. And so when that dynamic shifts and she's pursuing you, that's the best opportunity for you to be direct, decisive, and set a date. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, because that's probably going to be the majority of what I have to say about this topic. So with that, you can get the fundamentals for free in the description below and the paid products in there as well. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.